Topic is amino acid and protein chemistry. These are very basics. It's like learning ABCD of biochemistry and of MBBS life. And if you don't understand this, then the later part it will be very difficult to understand and grasp the concept. So please pay attention. The topic is amino acid and protein chemistry. We'll probably not talk about protein today, but we'll be talking about amino acid. First, we'll learn what are those amino acids, what are their structures, and how they are classified. So what are amino acids? Amino acids are a group of organic molecules that consist of two functional groups. Over here you have NH2 and COOH. NH2 is known as an amino group. It's a group of organic molecules that consists of a basic group, an amino group and a carboxyl group. Okay, this is, you must have read these things in chemistry in your class 11 and class 12. So this is the basic structure of amino acid. Here we have an amino group, we have a carboxyl group. Amino group is basic in nature, carboxyl group is acidic in nature. And we have an extra thing called a side chain. This is named as R, which is variable in each amino acid. Okay, so this is known as the amino acid. Any organic molecule or a group of organic molecule that has an amino group and a carboxyl group in it, they are known as amino acids. All right. Why are they important? Because amino acids are the ones that make protein. Okay, all the proteins are made up of amino acids, but not all amino acids make proteins. They are used for other purposes as well. But over here, understand that protein, you understand, right? It's the building block of your whole body. This is made up of amino acids. Over here, you can see these balls over here, right? So each of these ball is an amino acid. And these are joined together by peptide bond. We'll read about it later. So this is a chain called a peptide chain, which forms the primary structure of a protein. Now, in the world, we have around 300 amino acids. It's found in living organism in nature, but only about 20 amino acids are responsible for making proteins, and we are bothered only about those 20 amino acids. We're going to read about them. Okay, those are the ones that are important for human. Now, what is an alpha amino acid? So here I have talked about the structure of amino acid. Please remember this because this comes in Viva many times. Even for your seniors, the externals had asked this question again and again. Give us the basic structure of an amino acid. So this is a basic structure. Now each amino acid will be differing from each other through this R chain. Okay, this R group will be different for each amino acid. That's how they are different and they behave differently. Now something called an alpha amino acid. What's an alpha amino acid? If both the carboxyl group and the amino group are attached to the same carbon atom. Over here you can see this is glycine, the structure of simplest amino acid called glycine. Over here you can see this is amino group, this is carboxyl group, this is another way to write it, okay? And then this carboxyl and NH3 group are attached to a single carbon, therefore this amino acid is known as the alpha amino acid, alright? This is glycine, for example here this is alanine, okay? This is, now like I said, the R group is different for each amino acid. Over here we are supposed to have an R here, right? So R is replaced by hydrogen atom here. Over here it is a methyl group. So glycine has an H and alanine has a CH3. Although everything else is similar here, the top is similar, but just the bottom part where the R group is supposed to be, we have hydrogen and we have CH3 over here. That's why this is called glycine, this is alanine. So that way every other amino acid is different from each other through R group. Now optical isomerism. Optical isomerism, let's understand what is stereoisomerism. Optical isomerism is a type of stereoisomerism. You may have read this in class 11 and 12, but let's just, have a revision. So stereoisomers are what? They are the compounds that have the same structure formula. Like when you write the structure of formula, the formula is the same, but their spatial configuration is different. The way they behave in the space is different. The way they're oriented in the space, the atoms that they're oriented, the orientation of those atoms is different. So, optical isomerism is a type of stereoisomerism, and that optical isomerism is exhibited by amino acids because of the presence of an asymmetric carbon. अब asymmetric carbon क्या होता है? When a carbon atom, like here over here, you will see alanine. When a carbon atom is attached on its 4 sides by 4 different groups. इसके पास क्या है? Amino group है, carboxyl group है, hydrogen and then CH3. Attached to one single carbon atom. All these are different groups. And now, when a carbon atom is surrounded by 4 different groups, or all the groups that are attached to that carbon they are different, and they are known as asymmetric carbon. कोई भी amino acid के पास अगर asymmetric carbon होगा, so they will exhibit optical isomerism. See, it is a type of stereoisomerism where compounds have same molecular formula, but those are non-superimposable mirror images of each other. Although they look alike, but they cannot be imposed over each other. अगर दोनों का से चिपकाओगे, so they don't, you know, you like for example, these are 5 fingers, these are 5 fingers, looks the same, right? But it's like this, if you put them together, they'll not mingle with each other. Okay, they are mirror images of each other. So they are non-superimposable. Except for glycine, every other amino acid has an optical, they exhibit optical isomerism. Look at glycine. Why is glycine not showing optical isomerism? Because amino group hai, carboxyl group is here. Here there is hydrogen and there is hydrogen. All of these groups are not similar. they are not different. There is no asymmetric carbon. What is an asymmetric carbon once again? When the groups that are attached to the same carbon they have to be different from each other. Here we have similar carbon atoms, so glycine can never show optical isomerism. Alanine here shows. Every other amino acids you will see later on shows optical isomerism. These are the isomers, D and L amino acids, or D and L isomers. Now, is glyceraldehyde, the isomerism showed by glyceraldehyde, taught in carbohydrates? Has it been taught? Okay, may not be yet. So glyceraldehyde is a type of monosaccharide that shows isomerism. So this is a standard carbohydrate that we see, and this is D-glyceraldehyde, this is L-glyceraldehyde. D and L based on the presence of the direction of hydroxyl group. Agar hydroxyl group is on the right side, then they are called D. If it is on the left side, they are called L. Opposite is seen in amino acids. We're talking about amino acids. Similar to this is an amino acid, right? So इसमें हम amino group देखते हैं. Here in carbohydrate, we see the position of the hydroxyl group. In amino acids, we see the position of the NH2 or the amino group. Okay, so if it is on the right side, they are called as D. If it is on the left side, this is called L. So most carbohydrates are in D form. Okay, but opposite to that, most amino acids are in L form. In nature, any amino acid that we are talking about we are dealing with L amino acid. So these are isomers, and the number of isomers of a particular amino acid depends on the number of asymmetric carbon that they have. अगर इसमें और एक carbon जुड़ता, and if there were more groups attached to it, there will be 2 asymmetric carbon, right? So they will have more isomers. There will be more isomers of that particular amino acid. And this is calculated by 2 to the, this is not 2n, okay? This should be 2 to the power n. So n is the number of asymmetric carbon. Now, that is the basic structure of amino acid, the stereoisomerism that the amino acid shows. And this is the classification of amino acids. So different books have different classifications, but this is the basic, okay? You can, if classification is asked in exam, you can write from any book, the marks will be given. But let's understand what those classifications are. So classifications are based on structure, on polarity, on metabolic fate, and on nutritional requirement. Based on structure, we have aliphatic amino acid, aromatic amino acid, hydroxyl group containing amino acid, amino acids that contain sulfur in it, acidic amino acids, basic amino acids, and amino acids. Based on polarity, they are called polar, non-polar, all right? And within polar, we also have polar amino acids that has no charge on the R group, the ones that have positive charge on the R group, and the ones that have negative charge on the R group. Based on nutritional requirement, which is very important for you from the exam point of view, essential amino acids, non-essential amino acids, conditionally amino acids, and some of the books previous batches used to have is semi-essential amino acids. Based on metabolic fate, we have glycogenic or glucogenic amino acid, ketogenic amino acid, and glycogenic and ketogenic amino acids. Let's understand what is aliphatic amino acid based on structure. So based on structure of the amino acid, they are classified into different groups, right? One is aliphatic amino acids. What is aliphatic amino acids? Any amino acid that is a linear chain that doesn't have rings in it. You will see the other amino acids have rings in them. So these are glycine, alanine, valine, and isoleucine. Okay, they are monoamino monocarboxylic acid. मतलब एक amino group होगा और एक ही carboxyl group होगा. You will see over here one NH3 group, one amino group, one carboxyl group, one amino, one carboxyl, one amino, and one carboxyl. All of these amino acids, because they are structured, their structures are like that, they are considered as aliphatic amino acids. अब उनमें से भी valine, isoleucine, and leucine, they are known as branch chain amino acid. Why? Because they have some branching in their chain. Okay, there is some branching you would see over here. So why is it important? Because there are certain diseases that are related to only these three amino acids. Okay, so they are the disorders of branch chain amino acids, which we will read later. So very, very important to remember what are those branch chain amino acids. Naam yaad rakhna hai. Okay, you don't have to remember the structure. No one will ask you the structure, but please remember the names. Then we have something called aromatic amino acids, which means that they have ring structure on them. इसमें देखा इसमें chain था. Here we will have ring structure. So these are phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. Histidine is also there, but I have not mentioned the structure here. I'll mention it later on. Over here you see there is a structure. So each one of these corners have a carbon atom in it. That's why इसमें हर जगह CCC लिखा नहीं हुआ है. It's understood that this has carbon atoms. Okay. Now what is heterocyclic aromatic amino acids? Heterocyclic meaning different types of cycle, and at least in one of the rings it will have something other than carbon. जैसे कि over here you would see there is a nitrogen atom attached to it. These two rings are not similar, they are heterocyclic. Then we have histidine, which I'll show you later on. All right, heterocyclic aromatic amino acids. Then we have hydroxyl group containing amino acids. मतलब कोई भी amino acid जिसमें hydroxyl group मिलेगा. All right, hydroxyl group is this. Here we have this. So serine and threonine are they come under hydroxyl group. Then any amino acid that has sulfur in it, they are known as sulfur containing amino acids. There are two, methionine and cysteine. इसमें क्या है? This is known as the thioether group. Whenever a sulfur is attached to two carbons, this is called thioether group. You will see sulfur here, you will see sulfur here also. But this sulfur is attached to an hydrogen atom. This is called as sulfhydryl group. This is cysteine, this is methionine. Now what is cysteine? Some people still pronounce it as cysteine, but just to differentiate between this cysteine and this cysteine, I'm pronouncing it as cysteine. Okay, cysteine क्या होता है? This is when two cysteine molecules combine together, then we get cysteine. We'll read about it later on, but just remember this name as well. Okay, amino acid मतलब any amino acid that will have acidic group in it. So acidic group we understand is carboxyl group. That's why since these amino acids are acidic amino acid, that's why they are dicarboxylic monoamino acid. एक amine होगा but दो carboxyl groups होंगे. So more acidic groups are there, therefore it is more acidic, right? So these are यहाँ दो carboxyl dicarboxylic groups, monoamino. Here also you'll see the same things. Okay, here also aspartic acid and glutamic acid. Okay, and their amines. So these are the ones derived from this. Here also you will find the same thing. COO or COO. So whenever there is a carbonyl group like this, C double bond O, this is called as an amide. Okay, so this is asparagine is the amide of aspartic acid. Glutamine is the amide of glutamic acid. दो ही एसिड मिलते हैं हमको पूरे अमीनो एसिड ग्रुप में, glutamic acid and aspartic acid. And it is easy to remember asparagine from aspartic acid, glutamine from glutamic acid. Okay? Then we have acidic है तो basic भी होगा. And what will basic contain? They will contain more of the amino group. Okay? So they are mono carboxylic acid and diamino groups. Diamino meaning दो NH2 होंगे. Here we have NH2, here we have NH2. So lysine, arginine and histidine. Okay? Histidine, like I said, we have read about it in heterocyclic aromatic amino acid as well. So this is the structure of histidine. इसमें देखो there is carbon, then nitrogen again. So that's why it is called heterocyclic, because यहाँ पे सारा carbon नहीं है. There is interruption done by nitrogen as well. But histidine also comes under basic amino acids. So if someone asks you name aromatic amino acids, तो अगर आप histidine बोलोगे, that is also right. If you say the name of histidine under basic amino acid, that is also correct. Then this is something called amino acid. Okay, this is called proline is the only amino acid that has an amino group which is NH. अभी तक तो हमने पढ़ा था NH3, NH2. This is a single group known as NH instead of an amino group. Okay, so this type of ring is called a pyrrolidine ring, and that's why this is known as the amino acid. Proline का दूसरा नाम amino acid है. All right, remember the name proline because this is a single amino acid that comes under amino group. According to polarity, we were dividing amino acids into polar and non-polar, right? So non-polar means what? They don't have any charge on them. They are not involved in making any bond with the water, with hydrogen. All right, so they're hydrophobic. They have no charge on their R group. So under them they have isoleucine, leucine, valine, methionine, phenylalanine, tryptophan, proline and alanine. Names are there, they are all in your books. Okay, please understand, just go through this. Polar amino acids with no charge on R group. So polar are the ones which are hydrophilic. Okay, means they form bond with water molecule. But over here they have no charge on the R group, but they possess other groups like hydroxyl, sulfhydryl and amide groups which participate in the hydrogen bonding. Glycine, serine, threonine, cysteine, glutamine, asparagine and tyrosine are the ones that are involved. Then we come to polar amino acids that has negative and the ones that have positive charge in them. Okay, so ones that have positive charge on the R group, they are lysine, arginine, histidine, and the polar amino acids with negative ones are aspartic and glutamic acid. Most of the time the acidic parts will be written with a negative sign on them, so it is easy to remember them. Now, very important, essential or indispensable amino acids. Why are these certain amino acids called essential? They are essential because they are not synthesized in the body, but they are required by the body for the growth of the body, and therefore we have to take it through diet. Okay, we cannot escape it. It is important for the body. It is not produced by the body and it is taken through diet. So that's why they are called as essential amino acids. They are required for maintenance of the individual for the growth and development. If this is essential, then what will be non-essential amino acid? What are the non-essential amino acids? Anybody can tell me? What's the meaning? It will be synthesized in the body, right? Enough so that we don't have to take it through our diet. All right, very good. And then we'll give a list of them. Then we have something called conditionally essential amino acid. Matlab, only in certain conditions these amino acids become essential for us. Okay, so here we read that these are non-essential, but certain non-essential amino acids also become essential in certain conditions like burn or after surgery, trauma, when the body is undergoing healing. They are produced in the body, they are synthesized in the body, but not enough for the body, okay, because body is more keeping its function, it is directed more towards healing. So maintenance through production of amino acid is not done to the level that the person requires, right? So like thermal injury also, non-essential amino acids becomes essential. They are called conditionally essential amino acids. So they have to be supplemented in the diet. Arginine, cysteine, glycine, glutamine, proline, and tyrosine. Remember the names. There is something called semi-essential. These are not in your books anymore. But if you get an older external, they may ask you these questions because these were there till last year. Semi-essential meaning it is very similar to conditional essential. Some of the amino acids are produced in the body, but not enough. So you have to take it through the diet in conditions of pregnancy, lactation, and in children who are growing age. You would see, and you know by now, that people who are pregnant, women who are pregnant, their RDA also increases. The number of calories they're supposed to take, the calorie demands increases when she is pregnant and when she is breastfeeding, right? So calcium, vitamin D, folic acid, vitamin B12, all of their demands increase when a woman is pregnant and woman is lactating. Same with children. So similar way, here also we have these amino acids which are called semi-essential. There are only two, arginine and histidine. These amino acids are required for growing children. So deficiency can occur in these children if adequate diet is not provided, if amino acids are not provided through diet. These are the list of essential and non-essential. Okay, I have not put conditionally essential. These are all. So this is histidine and arginine are in red color because they are also semi-essential amino acids. How will you remember these many names? If you remember from my previous class, you can remember it through a mnemonic. Private Team Hall. So P for phenylalanine, V for valine, T for threonine, T for tryptophan, isoleucine, methionine, over here histidine, arginine, leucine, and lysine. That is how you're going to remember essential amino acids. Now you may make your own mnemonic, that's okay, but this is what I used to use and some of our friends used to use, and the rest of them is non-essential. So if you know essential, you don't have to remember these, okay? And most of the time, 99% of the time, nobody's going to ask you what are the non-essential amino acids. Everyone is going to ask you what are essential amino acids. There are 10 of them, all right? Based on metabolic fate, meaning what happens metabolically to these amino acids. What are they used for? Some of the amino acids can be used for production of glycogen and glucose. They are known as glycogenic or glucogenic amino acids, precursors for the formation of glucose. Okay, ketogenic meaning production of fats. So ketogenic doesn't mean production of fats, but fat can be synthesized from these amino acids, therefore they are called ketogenic. And the amino acids that can be used for the production of both glucose and fats, they are known as glucogenic and ketogenic. Over here you see the list. These are glucogenic, a long list. Then we have ketogenic and something that has the properties of both, right? Ketogenic, how to remember? It's just two, leucine and lysine. You don't need a mnemonic for that. Over here, you can remember it's PI-double-T. This mnemonic can be used to remember glucogenic and the amino acids that are considered both glucogenic and ketogenic amino acid. P for phenylalanine, then I for isoleucine, T for tryptophan, and T for tyrosine. So itna to we cannot remember, but we can remember these two, right? Ketogenic and this one. There are only four. That is, you can remember PI-double-T, PIT, and these are just two LL, leucine and lysine. All right. So just trying to make it easier for you to remember, because these will be asked. And if you cannot answer these questions, then you cannot pass in Viva. Because you're supposed to know everything. At least the names, they should be on your fingertips. Now, I have talked about the fact that there are about 300 amino acids that occur in nature, but only 20 of them are used for protein synthesis, and they're important for our bodies. We are only bothered about those two. But here you will see there is 21st and 22nd amino acid as well. They are recently discovered, and they are known as selenocysteine and pyrrolysine. You see if you remember here, the structure of cysteine. Here you have a sulfur group. Cysteine comes under sulfur containing amino acid. So over here you see sulfur. Iski jagah we have selenium in case of selenocysteine. Selenocysteine is known as the 21st amino acid. Yeah. So selenocysteine over here, the peculiar thing about selenocysteine is that it is cysteine, just that the sulfur group is replaced by selenium. Okay, so this is known as 21st amino acid, and 22nd amino acid is pyrrolysine. Naam kafi hai, you don't have to remember what the structure, you don't have to know the importance of them. So this was your class, short class. How many of you read this topic before you came to class? Okay, only one? Okay, now this is your first class. From the next class, since all the topics are already given in the notice board, please read it. Just go through it even for 15 minutes, spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes going through the topic, and then come to class. Because if you come to class for the first time and then read the topic for the first time over here, many things will be very confusing. So फिर आप वापस जाओगे and then you'll read it again and then you'll just be wasting time. पहले से अगर 10 मिनट भी पढ़ लिया, you'll get an idea. Then you come to class and then you listen to what the teacher is saying, and then you'll have some doubts. You go back home and then you read it again, and things will get clearer. Okay.